Okay, what is good, people around the world? We are here again for WrstlXtra number 11. We're on now. We are making moves on AffinityExtra.com and also on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
And of course, I can't go without, introducing my boy. I can't do the show without him. It's the WrestleManiac himself, Mex. What is going on?
Boy, it's been a week, hasn't it? It really has been. We've had a draft, we've had a split amongst the top faction within the draft, and we've got another interview for you guys this week. So yeah, packed show.
Let us get straight into it and kick off with the big split. It's a new day. Yes, it is. It is a new day because the New Day as a threesome is no more. So we saw Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston both come back from injury. Kofi Kingston was a shorter term injury. Woods obviously for around about a year, probably just over a year, with an Achilles injury. Their first night back, boom, straight away win that SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And then Big E comes in to celebrate. Stephanie McMahon appears on the stage and says, okay, this is the next round of the draft. Who's going where? The New Day were drafted from SmackDown to Raw. Big E is staying on SmackDown. It's happened.
Yeah, it has.
It has happened. Share your thoughts. How did you see this? What was your initial reaction when this happened?
I thought, okay, they're gonna move the whole New Day to Raw, and then I thought, okay, because Roman's obviously doing his thing, and Roman is WWE's golden child. They move Big E to Raw. He will win that WWE Championship. Brilliant. That's what I thought. When they said Xavier and Kofi, and flipping poor Xavier was like, say E's name, say E. Nothing. And then they done the next round, and obviously Big E was to stay on SmackDown, and he just sold it so well. He absolutely looked dejected. I'm quite curious to know, how does these drafts actually play out? I'm sure maybe the top stars know where they're going, but does everyone else find out like there and then? Because even on Talking Smack, there was things that was going on that people just like, oh, I'm here now, oh, I'm there now, and it's like, do people really just find out? Like, does it play out like that?
I believe so. With quite a few people, because similar to most of the shows themselves, some people find out on the day, if not minutes before it goes on air, what they're doing on the show. So it would not surprise me in the slightest if a decision is made with some of the, I guess, lower card talent who find out literally at the same time we do as an audience.
Yeah.
For sure. Even with especially with some of the ones that don't happen on the shows themselves, those ones that that we see on the internet or on the WWE network, however they decide to do it, I'm more than certain that some people really find out there and then.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
but
crazy.
for Big E to stay where he is and these guys move on, I don't know. Maybe it's for them to very much carve this as Big E's road, maybe to make it very different to obviously how Kofi won it, which had the support of his brotherhood around him. Big E's gonna have to do this on himself. And I remember I think there was rumors of on Thursday before the draft that there was going to be a split possibly with a New Day, where Xavier Woods would kind of be managing Kofi on Raw and then managing Big E on SmackDown sort of thing.
Right.
I did see something like that, but it feels surreal to have them split. 6 days, nothing in WWE. Sorry, 6 years, nothing in WWE lasts as long as that. And this is one of their biggest grossing factions and stars amongst stars within that faction. And for Big E, now he's out on his own. it's really gonna be difficult. He's really gonna have to show something, because the New Day as an entity altogether are brilliant. for him to stand alone and go alone and win the big one now, it's gonna be something.
My opinion is the complete opposite.
Go on.
My opinion is the complete opposite. I am glad that they've split up the New Day. I've been waiting for this for about 2 years, at least 2 years, probably longer. Definitely before even Kofi became champion, I was like, okay, let's split them up now. I think, to be honest as well, actually, just before Kofi became champion, within that the year before it happened, there seemed to be a bit of a drought with the New Day. Kind of WWE either not knowing what to do with them, they weren't really winning championships. I think there was a short time with that happening. So I was like, okay, right, it's time to break them up. We've now seen how great they are as individuals, or how great they can be, should I say, as individuals, within the New Day doing the amazing things that they did. So I've been ready for it for about, like I said, 2 years. So for me, it's also happened in a good way. So I've posted about this, and someone commented, a little bit upset about them splitting up. Yet another black faction splitting up. Why can't we have them for longer? And is it because the Hurt Business are on Raw? We can't have more than one black faction, and all that type of talk. And after rolling my eyes, I was like, to be fair, with the way that they've pushed this Big E singles run, or made something of it, should I say, and now with Kofi and Woods winning tag team championship straight away, we're in a good place. It's not a breakup because they can't be bothered anymore, as we've seen with a few other things and many things in recent years. Even just the other day with Andrade and Angel Garza, even just on a Raw with Lana and Natalia, that didn't last. It lasted like 3 weeks, if that. It's not a split because they can't be bothered to push them anymore. For me, they're in the possibly the best position they could be in after a split, because we've got Big E looking to go, and they're looking to push him on this run, however much that stretches. Okay, I'm still a little bit skeptical of it. Yeah. Let's be real, but it's better than it being they're split and Big E's kind of got nothing to do, or we're not sure what they want to do with him and all that type of thing. And of course, as I said, you've got the other two who've gone to Raw as champions. Yeah. So for me, I'm not here to get all upset about it. It doesn't. You said it feels surreal, and I know there's a lot of people that probably feel the same, who are a little bit upset and whatnot. But I'm just like, and to look at it in another perspective as well. Think of the many great factions that have been within wrestling in general, not even just WWE, just in general. Very few last forever.
Of course, yeah. Very
few last long, and if they have lasted longer than the 6 years that the New Day have, they've either broken up and reunited, or members of the team have changed. So they're coming away with a great legacy as well.
I agree. Yeah.
Great longevity, great legacy. Longest serving tag team champions in history. I think they've won the most tag team championships, if not ever, definitely in recent years, with 10 altogether now. Now that the New Day are officially Raw Tag Team Champions only 3 days after becoming SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I'm still trying to make sense of all of that. But yeah, for me, I'm happy with it. I'm fine with it. I'm great. It's good. It's just that whole what's actually gonna happen with Big E. That's my only thing.
And that's the same for me. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not here upset because they did it. I'm if anything, like you said, we didn't see the traditional someone turns heel and then there's the big turn. Right. It's they've just walked away from each other because of the draft. They didn't intend for this to happen. That moment when Big E maybe does win the Universal Championship and Xavier Woods and Kofi join him in the ring at WrestleMania is going to be brilliant. There's no kind of, I'm not annoyed. No way. I'm not annoyed at all it happened. I'm just a bit like, wow. Big E really has to do this alone.
Right.
Where Kofi's story
right,
was very
right.
much like, he tried, and eventually, remember, it was Big E and Xavier Woods that got him the opportunity at WrestleMania.
Of course.
Big E goes alone now. So,
Of
if
course.
anything, they are going to make a massive star out of him if they do this right. And yeah, I think it's obviously done just to kind of change up Kofi's story to the top, to just add a different spanner in the works, basically. But yeah.
I think the surreal part of it, to be honest, for me, is that it actually has happened.
Yeah,
that the
100.
WWE actually, made the decision to make it happen. Because as I said, I've been waiting for it for a while, but it's taken 2-3 years since maybe rumors started about it and stuff like that. And obviously, even the New Day themselves said that they would never split, or they, So for me, they are still the New Day.
100.
They will still see themselves as a group, and as you said, there was no one turning on someone else and anything like that. No one walking away. It was out of their hands type of thing.
Mate, they're still up, down, down. They're still their podcast. We're gonna
still
still see them everywhere. So
right,
yeah,
this is what I'm saying. It's not like they've split and they're no more. It's just, as you said, Big E has to do this thing on his own. And we know he's more than capable to do that, but it's now, okay, this is the real test now.
Yeah.
And Kofi and Woods, Kofi and Woods are kind of stuck in the tag team division now, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see either of them kind of being pushed as single stars anytime soon. Woods possibly, Kofi in a small way, if ever at all. But I think for those two, that's where they're gonna be. And then with Big E, the only way this will turn out correct and be done right is if he is pushed, and in a big way, to a WWE Championship or Universal Championship, whichever one happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's a new day. Yes, it is.
It is.
It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how they work it out. Also, as well, more draft reactions, I guess, and with the New Day is, as I said, they won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, were drafted to Raw. Then the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, were drafted to SmackDown. So on Monday, we literally had them meet each other in the back and say, "You take my title, I'll take yours, mate."
You know what? On Friday, when this happened, I was dying laughing because I just knew WWE have now got an opportunity to put even more black people into the same segment backstage to do this little switcheroo. They done it quite well on Raw. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah.
It was good. It's good to kind of see them two on the same show now and interact and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, for me, just before the show started, I posted on my story an opinion saying, because before Raw started, there was literally every single black male in WWE was on Raw, apart from Big E. So I said, okay, right, this means that Keith Lee, R-Truth, and Apollo have to switch. But forgetting the Street Profits, of course, as Raw Tag Team Champions. I then thought, actually, maybe they'll have a unification match between the New Day and the Street Profits.
That's what we all wanted. We all wanted it.
You know when you hope, and then you realize it's WWE that you're watching. It's not gonna happen.
They need it because the tag division is just so shallow right now.
It's pointless. Yeah, it's almost pointless. They might as well do the same thing that they do with the women's one, tag team championship that can be defended on any brand, any show, with any teams and all that kind of stuff. And they really should just do that with these. With the men's tag team championships as well, and for those two to go at it, would have been amazing. I think that match would have been absolutely
very
amazing.
entertaining.
Even just the thought of Kofi versus Montez Ford.
That would be
the type of high flying, type of madness that they would be doing would be phenomenal. But we didn't get that. But at the same time, the other thing that has happened now is the Street Profits now as official SmackDown Tag Team Champions are the first, and if they are the first, of course, also the only tag team to win the Evolve, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown championships.
History
Made once again by the Street Profits, and they've done that in a space of two years. They've done that in a space of 2 years. They won the Evolve championships in October 2018. And I only know that because I literally posted it 5 minutes before we started the show. So the Street Profits will go over to SmackDown as also undefeated Raw Tag Team Champions, which is amazing to have on their CV as well. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with those guys on SmackDown. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode have followed them. They kind of started a little bit of a feud.
I think they'll get straight into it, those guys.
They move, so we know that's going to carry on for a while. And we'll just see. I mean, I can't remember what other tag teams are on SmackDown anymore, to be honest.
Shinsuke and Cesaro are there.
Yeah, very true.
They had Kalisto got drafted to Raw. But I guess Lindsay Dorado and Gran Metalik are still there. Okay, correct. So yeah, again, as you said though, it's shallow in terms of the depth of the division. So we'll see what happens with that. The other move from Raw to SmackDown was Apollo Cruz. How do you see this one kind of playing out? Is it a good thing for him? Was it needed? How are you seeing it? It's a good thing. Like we said, someone had to move from that whole Hurt Business, Apollo Crews, Ricochet conglomerate. Someone had to move.
Very true.
I was disappointed on Friday when they said that Ricochet was staying on Raw. But Apollo Crews has moved. He only just came to Raw, you know. He only came, I think, after WrestleMania or so.
It was. That's correct.
He's spent maybe like 6 months on Raw and he's gone back, and I think, you know, there's hopefully the mid card is there for him. Sami Zayn is back Intercontinental Champion. There's some other kind of big upper mid card names that's recently arrived over there as well. Aleister Black, Kevin Owens. So new matchups definitely. Obviously we want to see him shine. We want to see him collect some gold. But most importantly, I think he needs that space for character development. SmackDown being a shorter show, however, it's kind of more concentrated, so there's kind of more space for him to do something to make himself stand out in a way, because they actually respect wrestling on SmackDown, like, and not just like mess around stories. So hopefully this is a positive move for him.
Before moving on to any of the other moves, you mentioned Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. Now they've had, they started a little feud as well on Raw, and both of them have moved to SmackDown. We've also seen Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic have a little thing on Raw. All three have moved to SmackDown again as well. As I said, I mentioned the Street Profits and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. All four again have moved to SmackDown. I'm seeing a bit of laziness here, in a massive way, with these moves. I don't see what. I don't know what that is.
The only thing I thought of it, like I always try and spin a negative into a positive, and the only thing I saw was that possibly that because these storylines are dying out, like Seth and Rey Mysterio family, they are clearly just waiting for Rey Mysterio to be fit so him and Seth can have the blow off, and that's done. I think it's just those stories have played out for so long on Raw. They're gonna bring them to an end on SmackDown, and maybe Raw being the premiere show, they are gonna highlight and kind of cast the eye on different stories, new characters and stuff like that.
Very true.
That's the only thing I can think about, because why would you just move one story from one show to another? And at first when it happened, because it was Seth and Rey Mysterio, that was the first one, I thought, okay, maybe they're moving this as long as it has been. They have made it work throughout most of it. They have made that work throughout most of it. It has kind of run its course, very similar to what we said about Hurt Business with Apollo and Ricochet, that whole thing there. In a way, I was looking at it again
doing the same thing as you said. You try to do turn the negative into a positive, and I've seen it, especially with the stuff on Raw with longer stories happening in WWE, which we haven't seen for a very long time. Maybe that's because of restrictions. Maybe that's because of a lack of talent because of COVID and restrictions and all that type of thing. But we've seen that happen. But yeah, I think you're very right in saying that. Hopefully, with SmackDown being a shorter show, they'll play some of these ones out quite quickly. And then, of course, we'll see the bigger stories and stuff happening, or newer stories happening on Raw. So that should be interesting. Moving on to the other moves, and with the ladies now, the first big move that we learned of back on Friday on SmackDown was Bianca Belair going to SmackDown. This sets up a dream match for me, hopefully in a very near future.
Gotta see it. We gotta.
It has to happen with, I must say, my two favorite females in wrestling, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. It needs to happen. I just need Sasha to beat Bayley, grab that women's championship, and then within a few months, if it's not the first person she deals with, within a year at least, Sasha versus Bianca, bro. That's dreams come true. That's everything. That would be amazing. Bianca Belair on SmackDown. Do you think that was needed, necessary, too early, or how are you seeing this one?
Just looking at how the two women's rosters have ended up, Raw has the considerably stronger roster. That might not be a bad thing, where if Bianca Belair, like you're saying now, before Sasha wins the big one, can go on a run, go through that division, and like I said, there's any real other big stars that, apart from Bayley and Sasha, that they have to be careful of, and then they can give her Sasha Banks after Sasha's won it. That could be very good. Not that Bianca Belair should win, because I think just being in the ring alone with Sasha, learning some of these things at this higher level now, will be very beneficial to her, and she can win it some other time. My only worry, and I've actually noticed this in recent weeks, because obviously I've been quite critical with AEW's women's division, how that's being managed. Right. Because SmackDown's only 2 hours, we're only ever really seeing one women's segment on the show. And obviously for the long majority of the year, that has been something surrounded around Bayley and Sasha. For sure. A bit of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss every now and again, but mainly something off Bayley and Sasha. So I just fear that, is this going to be maybe still no TV time in the short term? Maybe, I don't know.
That's interesting. It could happen again, as you said. Usually it's just one segment. We have kind of seen a little bit of a bleed of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So there is space for others to get a bit of a chance. But as we've noticed, we've had the vignettes with Bianca Belair, but we've also had the vignettes from Carmella. Carmella's kind of making this comeback as well. So it would be fitting for those two, whether they clash with each other or not, that either one of them two get their little time to shine during this whole thing with Sasha and Bayley as well. And I think the Sasha Bayley thing kind of needs to play out. Maybe end sometime soon. I don't know. It may be too early. It possibly might be too early for that, because it's such a big thing and it's been on such a great run.
I think it is too early, but it's only because they started it earlier than they should have. As far as I'm concerned, Sasha should still be on the shelf, sitting, licking her wounds from her beatdown. But because they fast forwarded it, everything kind of needs to move at a faster pace now, unfortunately.
But we are getting the Sasha special, Hell in a Cell. And it's with Bayley, a match that we've been waiting for however long. You rightly said a few weeks back that match probably in a Hell in a Cell, Bayley and Sasha should really have been at WrestleMania, but could we really wait until April for that to happen? So maybe they pulled the plug, as you say, they pulled the plug a little bit early with them two going at it. Or, as you said, with Sasha coming back and actually challenging Bayley for the championship.
Sasha's a draw, man. They've posted these ratings like anytime Sasha's on TV, the spike on SmackDown for the 15-20 minutes she's on is mad.
Wow.
So they can't even afford to keep her off TV to tell the story.
Yeah.
So
and that's probably why she's not, sitting in the back or sitting at home for weeks, or you know what I mean. So yeah, it's phenomenal, and it's great that that's happening with Sasha Banks. The other thing I want to touch on very quickly before we move on is Naomi on Raw. So Naomi's made the move to Raw, which is great within itself. It's a new place for it, hopefully a restart kind of thing. As we say quite often on this show, that Naomi needs something new. The one thing that I saw the other day that had me excited is MVP on Twitter posted the graphic of Naomi going to Raw with the thinking emojis, like we've all said it. We've said it on here, I think, at least once, and it's been said on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, all over the place, that it would be amazing if Naomi was part of the Hurt Business. A heel turn, a new direction, an aggression that we know that she has, but has kind of held it back a little because of the glow and being the good girl, the face. So it's only right. It just makes sense. I'll say this now, and I'm gonna post this clip on Instagram. MVP, do not wait too long to make that happen. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
I will hold my hands up, and when people have always said they should add a woman, Naomi wasn't my first choice.
Right.
However, that got me excited. I definitely think that, especially the fact that confirmed now Mia Yim is part of Retribution. We look like we're going to get Hurt Business Retribution, maybe at Survivor Series. They need a woman in the squad. There is nobody else but Naomi to just fill that gap. And not just fill the gap. She can bring, again, like we've talked about, the sass, the attitude that Hurt Business have. She can bring that in the female form. We've seen that before when she was part of Team Bad with Sasha and Tamina. Sign her up. Literally sign her up.
Let's do it. Let's go. So it's time for us to move on to our next section. We will be interviewing UK Wrestling's Rhio. So let's get into that right away. Okay, good people, it's that time of the show. It is October in the UK, which means it is Black History Month for us good people over here. And of course, as always, I want to highlight our great talent within the UK, Black British talent who are doing great things and are the future present of this business in the UK. I have a good friend, Rhio. Nice to see you. How are you doing? What are you up to? You look busy. What's going on?
Yeah, well, just trying to, keep busy through everything that's going on. Thankfully, with the announcement last night, Preston and Lancashire's in Tier 2.
Oh,
so
wow.
Gyms are open, so, I can calm down a bit with that. I can at least do something. So, trying to maintain some kind of sanity at the moment. I think the same as everybody else. But yeah, just at the moment, I'm working my permanent job. Dreaming of wrestling being back up again. hoping that sooner rather than later.
Of course.
Just trying to be honest. I think the best thing that's kept my mind, focused is I'm trying to think that when wrestling comes back, I want to be in the best shape possible.
Yeah, of course.
Bearing in mind, I know gyms were shut for quite a long time, between like March and July. I don't know about other countries, but here in the UK anyway. So I'm trying to kind of think that right now there's no wrestling, your body can rest, any injuries you may have had can kind of actually get better, not just cover them up.
Of course.
So yeah, it's just trying to come back better than ever. I think when it does come back, it'll hopefully come back in full steam ahead, and wrestling will be here, there and everywhere. So I need to be ready. That's it. That's my mindset, being ready.
Nice. I like that. Now tell me, give me the shortest version of the story of how you got into wrestling. A young girl from Preston up north, you know, and you this badass Rhio who can kick anyone's ass. Like, how did you get to this place?
Well, it started when I was younger. I'd watch wrestling with my dad. Like, he first showed it me, so I watched it, and I think from the second of watching it, I was mesmerised by it. I think I enjoyed the athleticism more than anything else. I've always been into sports since I was young, and I've tried to keep busy. I'm not very good when I'm bored. I end up getting into trouble when I'm bored.
Wow.
So I try and keep busy, you know. So I always did sports, and I thought, this looks like something I'm good at, you know. I've always been quite well built body wise. When I was younger, I was still maybe what you class as one of the bigger girls in my school years and stuff like that. So I just found it was other sports, maybe without sounding too big-headed, they came a bit easy to me. Wrestling was definitely the one thing that was not easy, and I still say tonight it's not, because you've just got so many variables in wrestling, you know. Whether you wrestle the lads, or there's bigger girls, there's smaller girls, there's more athletic girls, there's more powerhouses, so there's just more to challenge you. So yeah, so
amazing.
Watching TV, watching it at about 9 years old, and then found a school that opened quite a few years later.
Wow.
So yeah.
Who were some of your favourites growing up?
I mean, as you've got to say, Andy, everyone's got to say Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the facials, the cheating and the facials, I love it. Yeah.
He's got the t-shirt.
That's my guy. That is my guy.
The absolute mischief of it all. I love the fact that he was one of those that you like, he could get you to hate him, but then a second later you loved him, but then you hated him again, then you loved him.
Right.
I thought that he was just so good, and he just thought of things that no one else did, and I just loved him. And then I also liked Bull Nakano on the Japanese team.
Amazing.
Like, oh god, yes, because she was the first female wrestler that I saw that was like big. You know, she wasn't like a typical size, and she dominated with such force, and I just thought, like, how can you not? I loved the face paint, the hair was different, everything was just different, and that's what I loved about her. So they were probably my two, and then you know, you've got to love, you've got to love Shawn Michaels, you know, you've got to love Jeff Hardy, all of those kind of guys, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So before when doing my research, having to think about some of the things that we're going to talk about, one thing I realized is in my travels of going to wrestling shows and stuff like that, I think you, as well as possibly Rampage, are the people who I've seen the most. So I've seen you a few times at Tidal. Of course, you did the Everything Pattern show as well, and then I saw you once at, I think it was British Empire Wrestling as well. So we already know I'm a big fan of Rhio, but the one thing that I've always loved when going to Tidal is the reaction that you get from the fans, the songs that they come out with. Obviously Rio's the heel within the company, and the songs that you get are just amazing to me. How is your connection with the fans? Do you miss all of that? I'm sure you do. How is your connection with the fans in Tidal?
Do you know this? They'll probably haunt me with this now, but I do miss them. I have to say, I do. I really do. The thing with Tidal is, I think because of the venue is quite small, it is a really intimate venue.
Very much.
And you do get your regular fans. I love it when you get new fans as well, don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah.
I love stories when people say, oh, you know, my partner wasn't a fan of wrestling, but then, you know, brought them along to a show, and then they've loved it ever since. I love those kind of stories, but, you know, you get your regulars, your cheeky regulars as usual.
I know those faces. I know those faces. Yeah. Right in that corner.
It's just such a big part that you to not have it. It is so upsetting, really, because it is so much fun. They're having fun. I'm having fun.
Right.
And what more could you want?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do miss them.
Of course.
When they ask, though, I'm not going to say that.
Of course, I was going to say, don't say that too loud.
Nah.
So we know you're from Preston. You started watching wrestling with your dad. What is it like being one, a female, two, someone of mixed heritage, both in wrestling and in your daily life, like how has that kind of influenced or shaped the way you approach life in general?
Well, it's quite tricky, that one. In wrestling, I feel I don't really think there is that many mixed girls, if I'm right.
Correct.
I don't feel, maybe in other countries not, but especially the UK. Well, I think obviously having like ethnic minority wrestlers always is going to be the smaller pool in the UK, especially just with
very true
numbers. But I do think the mixed girls, there's not that many. So for me, I think it's something to be proud of, isn't it? You should always be proud of everything you are, everything that makes you, whether that is, you're black, you're white, you're tall, you're short, you're fat, you're thin, you're male, you're female. I think everyone should embrace everything that makes them, because that makes you unique and it makes you special. But I find in general life and in wrestling, my kind of motto or the way I like to live is surround myself with good people. I think it's something that everyone should do. Like my friends groups, we're all, everyone's accepting, we're diverse, and I think as long as you can get friends that accept you for your differences, whatever they may be, then you're on the right path. But if you choose to spend your time with people who are negative or who discriminate for whatever kind of group, you just don't need that energy, do you?
Right.
As I feel, I don't care what group you get put in by society or whatever it may be. If you're a good person, then we'll get on fine. But if you're not, then we're gonna have some issues. And I'd rather just stay away from these kind of people.
I wouldn't want to mess with Rhio if I've got issues with her either. So
imagine a wrestler, a full wrestler, telling you we've got issues.
No thanks.
We've got major issues. But yeah, I do feel very proud to represent everything that makes me me. I'm very proud to be of a mixed heritage. My black side being Caribbean, my white side being literally just English and Preston. So I'm proud of both those sides. I'm proud to represent both sides and represent the mixed wrestlers as a whole. So
love it. I love it. That's a beautiful way to look, beautiful outlook to have. In talking of diversity and I guess unfortunately in a more negative sense, obviously UK wrestling specifically was hit very hard with the whole speaking out movement, and we also had to be very mindful as well of what was going on when it comes to Black Lives Matter and that movement earlier this year. How has the speaking out movement affected you, and I'm sure ladies around you that personally and stuff like that? How has it affected your year?
As the speaking out movement has got rid of people that shouldn't have been in wrestling. Unfortunately,
right.
It's highlighted wrestling in a very bad way. I feel like that speaking out itself was a great thing for every person that had the courage and the confidence to to speak out, and then it did help other people who at the time didn't have the confidence and have maybe kept that with them for such a long period of time, being scared or whatever they was going through. I think it has helped get that out there, and it's helped clean wrestling up, the British wrestling scene. Them people shouldn't be in any sport. It shouldn't be a thing, should it?
Right.
So I'm glad to see that looking at it, I think we've got a lot more positive place to come back to. I think a few people might not feel that way, and I think it might be one of those that I think when the shows do come up and running again, it's going to take a lot to build it, whether it be fans, because unfortunately a lot of the fans have seen this, and I'd hate the fact that they've got British wrestling in a negative way. Right. So I hope that the fans can see that, that's not a large population of British wrestling. There's a lot of people that are, they're good people and they just want to entertain, do what they love, and train in a safe place. Right. And so I do think speaking out has made training a lot safer. With every passing day, there's more governing bodies, or there's more kind of eyes looking at how to make wrestling safer, how to make wrestling training sessions safer. And I think for me, the core would be we need to get the training schools safer, because that is where you're going to find that people start, and that's where you've got the younger people.
Yeah.
So
Right.
not in, not just females, but you've got young kids. You've got teenagers, and they need to be protected. And as well with wrestling, I think Zach Knight has shown this with with his work. But you've got a lot of people now coming into wrestling, and to be wrestlers, they maybe they've got autism and things like that, and you think
Right.
these people need to be safe as well. These people are
Right.
really pushing out of the comfort zone to do something like what has been going on, that can be so detrimental, and I'd hate for that to happen. We need to protect all vulnerable people especially, but we just need to make sure wrestling's a safe place for everyone. Fans, wrestlers, referees, everybody needs to feel safe
For sure.
and be safe. So I do think speaking out has highlighted issues that have been probably here, but like I say, maybe people have been scared to bring up, or kind of. I think people will be scared about the reaction they may get. If they say something and think people
sure.
might turn on them.
For sure.
Or so I do think it has highlighted an issue that was there, and something that together we all need to work on. We all need to maybe be a bit more aware of when we're at shows. Just try and see the signs. Hopefully there's not going to be any, but I think we all just need to work together, ensure wrestling is the safe place that it should be, and then when wrestling does come back, everyone will be safe and everyone will be having a great time. And to me, that's all that matters.
Because this is such a male-dominated industry, as it were, do you think, in the UK scene especially, as a woman trying to get through, and this has now been highlighted, that there's going to be like any potential roadblocks from, say, your road to the top now that people are, maybe, some of these guys just avoid working with women and booking women onto shows now. Do you think there's going to be any limitations in that respect?
I feel there's going to be maybe some promoters or some wrestlers that are going to have that fear of something happening on their shows, or there's going to have that fear of something coming back at them. But again, I think that's just going to be one of those things that we're going to have to, when we come back, just make sure that everything, if there is any issues, girls, young lads, anybody who feels uncomfortable, go to the promoter or go to somebody that that you have the confidence in, to say, look, there's something going on. And I think that'll be a way to start off, as in, making sure that promoters don't feel nervous to book girls, or that other wrestlers don't feel nervous to wrestle against a girl. That's also not an environment we want to create.
Right.
So I think as long as we try and keep it safe, I do think that there is going to be that kind of few months. It's going to be a bit of a kind of sticky period for everyone. But I think once we get into the flow of things, and I think once everything starts getting better and starts getting back to what everyone loved, which was a great atmosphere and a great time, I think then people will be a bit more confident. But I think with COVID, with speaking out, and with everything that's happened, I think people are just nervous to come back to wrestling in general. So I think, like I say, I think it's going to take a strong group of people to rebuild. But then once we're back, we're back.
We've seen in the US a few indie promotions kind of start back. I think Game Changer Wrestling, Warrior Wrestling, a few others. Do you see do you see a possibility of British wrestling coming back anytime soon? Is that in our hands as wrestling fans, or as the industry, or is that completely in depending on what Boris says tomorrow when he changes his mind again? How do you see it happening?
I think it's a bit of both. I think when wrestling comes back, we know it's not going to be, unfortunately, it's not going to be one of those where you can just come back, everyone can sit next to each other, everyone can be jumping around when they get, when such a person wins, you can't just be jumping around and hugging each other. But I do think as long as things are done safely, I think social distancing, I believe Boris said not long ago, it's going to be till about October 2021. So I think that is something that's gonna, something that we're gonna have to bear in mind and put up with. But it's like, again, as long as everybody's safe and everything's done properly, we should still be able to get wrestling back up and running. And again, everyone's safe and everyone's happy, enjoying themselves, and then hopefully sooner rather than later, things will really start moving and we can just have that sense of normality back.
Right.
I think it's small steps, unfortunately. I think it's one of those you're going to have to start off with the social distancing. There's going to be maybe bigger venues and less people to help with the safety. And then,
for sure.
Yeah, I think from there we can start looking at filling out places again. But I don't think we'll be doing any sold out places for a while. Not sold out to maximum capacity anyway.
Right. Well, Rhio, thank you very, very much for taking the time on your daily walk to speak to us.
No
it's
problem.
been great.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully, as we said, hopefully wrestling will come back, and I'll get to come and see you do your thing very soon. And I might just bring Mex with me as well. So he gets to see the brutality that is Rhio.
Definitely.
Speak to you very soon. Thank you very much for speaking to us, and have a great day.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and take care,
No
guys.
problem.
And I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, guys, that was Rhio. Based in Preston in the UK. She has won many titles within the UK. An absolute phenomenal performer. It's now time for us to move on to our next section, the hardest section of our week. As always, it is our stars of the week. Actually, I'll be very honest, I've actually got mine. I'm ready to go. So maybe, for a change, I'll go first. For me, it actually has to be the New Day. That return was just correct. Kofi coming back, Woods coming back, the way they kind of came in after Big E won his match against Sheamus, still a bit broken and bruised, and for them to just come in straight away and win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And it was a good match as well. It wasn't just, it wasn't a squash. It wasn't just a quick flash in the pan type of win. It was actually a really good match. So breaking more records as the New Day, and yes, we had the split, but for me, as I said, I'm okay with it. I'm almost happy about
Positive
it.
Move.
So yeah, man, the power of positivity was a positive move. So for me, the New Day definitely get my vote this week for stars of the week, and that's all three of them as well. Just to be clear.
Just to be clear. Well, this is how I know we are meant to be in sync and meant to be doing this show together, boy. Because my honourable mention was going to be Big E. Because I think that match he put on with Sheamus is underrated. Like, everyone loved it, but I think, if this was on New Japan or AEW or something, everyone would be raving about it. That match was very, very good.
Right. It was.
Yeah, that's probably the most interested I've been invested in any Sheamus match in forever. Like, and Big E was so good. He done a lot of selling in the early part. Eventually fought his way back into it. The spots around the car, the windscreen was really crazy. Loads of blood everywhere from both men. And then we got the big ending through the table at the end. And obviously, like we said, he was withdrawn by his brothers afterwards. And then my actual star of the week goes to Xavier Woods.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It
was real. I never knew how much I missed him until he came back.
Right.
The energy that he brings and everything. He's just such a he very much is that middle piece in New Day. Because obviously Kofi and Big E, we know their thing is their ability sort of thing, but it's just the character, that everything that brings the character out of Big E and Kofi, and more than anything, in the ring, he looks like he has been ready to come back. I saw him gorilla press Dolph Ziggler on Raw last night, and I was thinking, what? When are you able to carry a man
with a mashed up Achilles for a year? How do you lift another man over your head?
He put on a very good performance on SmackDown. Obviously, like you said, they won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships and then defended it on Raw against Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, Robert Roode. Very good match. And yeah, I've just been so impressed with Xavier Woods since he's come back. He looks faster, he looks sharper, he looks stronger. So yeah, Xavier Woods is my star of the week. But I guess like you say, man, New Day is going to take the reins anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to just be a New Day taking the star of the week this week, man, for sure. And to be very, even focused on Xavier Woods as you were as well. I think a lot of people seem to forget that, he's the brainchild of the New Day. Everything about it from the first thing that we saw that we didn't quite get with
the gospel
to what it is now to the popular. Yeah, it kind of didn't quite work, but and he was the one that turned around to Vince McMahon and said, "Listen, I've got an idea. I want to do it like this. If it doesn't work, you can sack us." Who goes to Vince and says that? Because we know Vince is very difficult to please. So you're going to put your career on the line, and he made it work. And also at the same time, he was the one behind the, somehow getting Kofi to the WWE Championship as well. We mentioned up, down, down, which is his other thing that he does, which is a YouTube show all about gaming and stuff like that. That alone is making moves. It broke records.
It was so good it became a WWE production now.
Exactly. It's now part of WWE's whole family. It broke YouTube records last year, or I think it was earlier this year, something like that. Either by views or subscriptions, it hit 1 million. So I think that was subscriptions actually. He's just a clever guy. He's a Harvard graduate as well, I believe.
Yeah, I believe
so sometimes he gets lost in the mix a little bit with the three of them, but at the same time he's more than enough accolades and the things that he does on his own
100. For
him to be mentioned a lot more often for his own individual skill set and stuff like that. So big shout out to the New Day. The trio is no more, but they will still be doing everything. As we said, they're still going to have their podcast show together as a threesome. Xavier's still going to be running his up, down, down thing, which, both guys will frequently be on. Kofi will be on there playing games. Kofi will be on there talking about his love for his for sneakers and trainers and stuff like that as well. And we're going to see Big E do his thing on SmackDown and hopefully win that Universal Championship, beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Hopefully.
It's gonna happen. Speak it into existence.
Happen. Let it happen. Guys, that is now the end of our show for this week. Thank you for joining us on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. Thank you for listening on AffinityXtra.com. Don't forget, as always, you can follow us. You can follow Mex on WrestleManiac UK on Twitter and on Instagram. And of course, I'm sure you're following me on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, and also you can find me every now and again saying something on Twitter as well. Folks, also as well, you'll hear the new sound in the back, at the start, at the end. Listen out for more about the soundtrack that you're hearing in the coming days, weeks. They'll be available to listen to whenever you want. So listen out for that. Guys, folks, thanks for joining us. Mix, as always, thanks for being here and joining me doing
pleasure.
This. Until next time, guys, see you again.
Peace out.